I did get to play a little bit because I was really excited to try to get my first 70 skill, and I finally did it yesterday night. I was
Ooh.
working away my profession and got my first leatherworking, my first skill, and it was leatherworking to 70. So
Awesome.
there you go.
So
Finally,
70,
finally, we're in the
70 tool belts
70s
for
here.
everyone.
70 tool belts, except because I'm just at 70, it takes forever to get a tool belt to
Yep.
70, but I can get one to 60 pretty quickly. Yeah.
Mm,
But what
that's
will
good.
probably happen is I will imp tool belts to 70, and that will give me enough skill to make it easier to actually do
To
it
get to
in a
80.
reasonable amount of time.
Mm.
Maybe when I reach 75, it'll make it so it's reasonable to get to 70. But that was exciting.
Yeah,
And
that's awesome.
the way that I did that was, well, I'm running funny. The way that I did that was inside of my large storage shelf here. Let's say the third one. I made a whole bunch of armor. Look at all that armor. I got
Mm.
like 5. I guess it's 5. Oh, not quite 5 sets. About 5 sets of everything, and tried to imp them all to about 60, which I was not successful yet, but almost successful. Look at all those 60s and then a couple 50s.
Mm. Were you able
And
to
so that's what I did.
end up sending out that tool belt to what was his name?
I'm going to say
Uh,
Proctor? Proctor?
Proctor. That's it.
Yeah.
Proctor or
I
Proctor.
don't think I did. Do you want to do that?
Okay, let's do that.
Or do you
Do
want
you
me to
remember how
do
to
it?
spell that?
I don't.
Is it like Poc like? Hmm. Oh, well, we'll give it a shot. And we're going to do this with our new
So,
trusty.
what's different here? I created a spirit cottage, and then as soon as I created it, here comes Adam, a brand new faux priest. He just created his faux. This is not your faux priest?
Mm-hmm.
Where's your faux priest? Oh, he's not online.
He's not
Um,
online right now.
and he comes waltzing up just like this and stands here, and I go off over here to try to get a 50 quality shard. So I'm like right here, and I open this up and I pull one of these 50 quality shards out to try to imp this thing. I think it came out at like 15 quality or something really low. And by the
Mm-hmm.
time I come back, he's like, "Oh, I just got an enchant on it of what is it? On courier." And look at the courier cast down here. Courier has been cast on it, so it possessed some messenger spirits. 73.
Now I know 73 is not that high. And I know Courier is not that hard of a spell to cast, but it was literally his very first cast ever
And I'm
as the
waltzing
faux
back
priest.
here and I'm like, okay, I better imp this or else, before you cast on it. And he just waltzes over. There it is, 73. I'm done. He just walks
Yeah, I mean,
away.
I did do some morning fog casting just to get his channeling up. So I got his channeling up to like 20 or something like that. And then I landed that 73 cast. I was like, whoa. And since then, I've been casting on it over and over again. And I'm not even coming close to, I haven't improved it yet. So,
So how's your experience so far? I mean, you're a priest. You've played priest forever. But this is your first priest in a few years now, I guess, or maybe even a bit longer of actually. Why am I walking so slow?
It's also my first foe, right? Like,
how's the experience this time around?
there was this a long time ago. Our Najo priest was originally a foe. I had gotten the faith up to maybe 35 or 40 as a foe. And then the player god Najo came out, and I immediately switched to Najo. There was some free faith swap at the time for some reason or another. So I haven't really had the experience of leveling up a foe all the way.
I mean, so this will be your first time doing a foe. which is
Hopefully
not
my
too bad.
first one will be a
Is it a
foe.
lot different though, other than
It's
the
not really that
spells?
much difference. I mean, Najo pretty much had all of Foe's main spells anyway.
Right.
Um, yeah.
All right. So let's take a look. I'm thinking that the name is Pokter. And hey, Del Race, how you doing?
Oh yeah, I already sent it off.
Oh, you
And
sent one?
Fabricant, how's it going? Yeah, I sent it.
Wait.
Don't send another one.
Don't send another one. Okay. I was going to show it on screen, but that's pretty much how you
Oh,
do it,
okay. Well,
I guess.
didn't you ask me how to do it? Didn't you ask me to do it?
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
All
And
right, we're
Fabricant
good.
says,
We're
not
good.
102, not good enough. And hey, Dalraced, how's it going?
So that's essentially what we've been up to. You've been doing the whole priest thing. I guess that's taken up a lot of your time this week, right? Mostly in Wurm. You haven't
I
done
mean,
a lot of other things in Wurm, have you?
I've done a little bit of other things. So I kind of wanted to get my priest to have some animal husbandry. So I've been doing
Oh,
that a little bit.
okay.
Got that into the 20s somewhere. And also, in order to support my priest, I am working on rope making on this tune.
Ooh,
Uh,
okay.
so, so I spent some time making some fish keep nets, which are a pain in the butt, by the way, to make. These things are really hard to make. But once they're
Also,
made,
these things here, yeah.
what's great about them is that you can put them in the forge and their quality will come down. Like you can burn them up in the forge, bring their quality down. So what I'm doing right now, because we don't really have like super high quality cotton, is I'm just using the cotton we have to imp them up as high as it can go, and then put them in the forge, burn it down, and just repeating that process over and over again. And that's working really well, by the way. Like,
Ooh,
I think I got my
okay.
rope making to 25, and I think I started yesterday, something like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that's the new best way to get your rope making up.
I mean, the other way is with net traps, and I think it works just as good with net traps. The only
I think you
difference is
need a
that
much higher skill to make those.
these ones are you need a high skill too. Like it was painful making these, like
But I
nearly as
don't even
painful as
think we
making the
have
Dioptra.
the ability to make one. Or do you have the ability to make
No,
net
I
traps?
I do. Yeah, I can make net traps. The only problem with net traps is that they take 5 cordage ropes each,
Oh, okay,
and
yeah.
cordage is the problem, right? Whereas, so like if you want to make 5 net traps, you need 25 cordage, and that's not fun. And I think they're just as hard to make by putting them together as these things. These ones need ribbons, like strings of cloth, shafts, like nothing super hard. It's just
Okay.
combining them all is a pain
So
in the
there
butt.
you go. I mean, at least that there's a way to raise your rope making without having to just create rope all day long. You can actually.
I know Antir's been casting his blessing of the dark on his priest now. He's finally gotten his faith up to that high.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
So he's casting away. I hear he got a 83 cast earlier. Or was it
Ooh,
86? That's pretty sweet.
86.
That's lucky. I
And
honestly feel after doing a little bit of priesting that they've made it easier in a lot of ways to be a priest
so I
compared to
mean,
what it was before.
let's talk about that because you've been a priest for a long time,
Mm.
and I mean, you remember specific ways of leveling a priest and all those things. We made videos about it in the past, and now you're revisiting what it is to be a priest.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with, okay, what are exactly the changes here that you've noticed?
Well, I'll start with the most obvious ones that I noticed like right away. So the first thing I noticed was the rate at which you regain favor is like astronomically faster than it used to be.
Wow. I mean, that's a big
Like
change.
I would say, yeah, like before when and this was on Xanadu, so the lag might have had something to do with it, but it couldn't account for everything. I would say that you would get a faith regen tick maybe once every 12 to 15 seconds. So you'd have to wait 12 or 15 seconds, and then you get a little tick that would increase your favor. And the amount that it would increase wouldn't be like, it's like, depends on how much favor you have at the time. But, you know, I'm noticing that now the favor ticks are coming at approximately like every 3 to 5 seconds, somewhere in there.
Hmm.
Oh, the mystery Brian face comes out. I don't even know what it is because I can't see you.
Everybody's got to tell you. Got to tell Adam what it is.
The teeth.
Thank you, Reganation, and you
Hey,
guys. Okay, so
Drogos.
you just popped Adam's
Fair is
mystery
fair.
face twice,
Yep.
which is your. I see no difference. Wait, Deathwood, are you talking about me or are you talking about Adam? Oh man. Oh no, me.
So yeah, so now you're getting a regen tick. Your favor will tick every like 3 to 5 seconds. So that's like a 4
Yeah.
times increase. And then on top of that, each tick is giving you more than it used to for sure. Like
Yeah.
at least a 50% increase compared to what it was before. So all in all, I would say that favor is now regenning like at a good, well, let's see, it's like 6 times as fast as it used to,
Mm-hmm.
I would say. So that's like pretty intense. Like
Wow.
I would just sit there and I would regen 30 favor to cast on that mailbox every, I want to say, I didn't time it, but it was probably 7 minutes or something like that. 5 to
Okay.
7 minutes or something. Where it used to take like 20, 30 minutes. So maybe that's only like a 5 times increase, but
That's
something
crazy.
like
So
that.
how does that change the game for you? I mean, does it change the game for being a priest, or
It
is it
makes it
just a little
so,
faster? Or
the change really comes in the form of channeling grind. Channeling grind is far easier now than it's ever been before. Mostly because when you're doing a channel grind, you're basically the idea is that you want to cast low quality or low difficulty spells at first, like when you're first starting out. And some of these can have like a 5 favor requirement, right? Like you
so
only need
here's a
5 favor
question
to
for
cast Morning
people,
Fog.
someone who's never played a priest. How do you know how difficult a spell is?
I think there's a table on the Wurmpedia.
Okay, so there's nothing in the game. It's like Wurmpedia tells you somewhat of how difficult a spell is based on probably a number of factors, I'm guessing.
No, it's actually just a single number, right?
Single
So the
number,
difficulty is
but
like, for
then
example, morning. Sorry, good. But then what?
how would you know how difficult it is to cast based on your priest? Is it like a
Right.
channel number, or is it some
No,
other?
yeah. So it works in exactly the same way as every other item, like every other skill in the game, right? Like, for example, iron. When you're mining iron, iron has a difficulty of 3 or something like that. And or is it 10? I can't remember. Anyway, it's like a certain number. And you kind of want your skill to be somewhere in the vicinity of, or like you want your skill to be above that number or above the difficulty. Actually,
Yeah.
mining's a bad example because there's so many factors that affect the difficulty of mining, like your pickaxe and your pickaxe skill and that stuff. But
So is it not the
with
same for priests?
with channeling, it's literally just channeling. So your channeling skill will determine the difficulty or how well you cast, essentially. And
Yeah.
in order to get skill, remember it's the same as everything else. You kind of want to succeed, but not succeed very well in order to get a skill tick. And the same goes for
Yeah.
channeling, right? Like if you cast a spell and it lands, but the power is between 1 and 40, then you'll get a skill tick. And so that's sort of the target. Like when I walked over to that
Okay.
mailbox and I casted that 73, I did not get a skill tick because that roll was above 40.
Yep.
So whatever your channeling is, you kind of want the difficulty of the spell that you're casting to get skill to be somewhere like about 10 below your skill or so. And I got that information from that post that Oblivion River made, the grinding everything post.
Okay. So he made a post on the forums that
Have you
people
read
can
through that or
go.
no?
I haven't read through it all. That's more of an Adam thing, I
Yeah.
must say. And hey, the Stray Wizard, how you doing? And Rippins, but your teeth. What's wrong with my teeth? In general, or like when I'm just the pig? And you're saying no one else does that sort of thing on stream? I guess the filters. I think there must be other people that do. We can't be the first ones that do that.
Yeah, we can't.
Maybe
be
the first Wurm people that did it. And Fabricant saying you can get the spell list from the altar. And hey, Serotonin
Yes.
Junkie, how you doing? I'm glad that the bridal's helping. And yes, thank you so much for the zinc. And Antier, how you doing? I heard
Hey,
through the grapevine, which is basically Adam, that you are doing some casts now on some tools.
Oh, Antier, you were asking me a question in the Lance chat. Sorry, I missed that. You're asking if you get a low roll. Okay, so this is perfect because it's like in line with what we're talking about right now.
Okay,
So he
what's the
knows if you get
question?
a low roll, you get a small bonus to your next cast. But when you're improving in chance, is there any other bonus or is each cast just its own unique roll? Guess what I'm asking is it best for me to make 20 pickaxe heads and just get one cast on each, then sort out the highs and give away the lows, or keep casting one pick head until it gets highs on? Okay, so this is all good questions. And you kind of
Is
have
there
a
multiple
decent
answers to
idea.
that?
There's sort of the information you need to know, and then you can make a judgment based on that
So
information.
let's try to break this down so that I can understand what you're about to say, because
Okay.
I kind of understood the question. Okay, so let's say I have 12 studded leather sleeves.
Okay.
All right, so I made 12, and this is just I know you can't see my screen, but this is just like theoretical.
Okay.
Maybe I have 12 studded leather sleeves somewhere, and I imp them all to roughly about 60. And now I'm starting to cast on them. So I pick one and I start casting on it. What was the actual question now? So I cast on it and then I get a low cast.
Okay, so let's say you get a low
So
cast.
of
Okay,
like
so
12.
okay, so let's say it was 5. Okay, so it was between 1 and 10. Okay. Then on your next cast, whatever the roll is, it will add 4 to that roll. Okay, so if you are lucky enough to roll 100, then the cast will land as 104. Okay, and that's how you get 104 cast.
Ooh.
So it needs to be low in order to get that bonus. Now, for every 10, so when you go into the 12s, like 12, 13, 14, so if you're casting on that, then it'll give you it'll give you 3 extra to the roll. Okay, and above 20, you'll get 2, and above 30, you'll get 1, and above that, there's no bonus whatsoever. I might actually be one off with these numbers, but it's something like that. So when it gets to about 40 or 30 or something like this, the bonus isn't really all that good anymore. Now, there's nothing wrong with continuing to cast to try to replace that cast. Like if it's a 35 and you roll again and you happen to roll a 70, it'll change it to a 70. There doesn't seem to be any detriment to continuing to cast Like I've sat on a 89 cast and I just kept casting and casting and it ended up being like a 98. Like eventually you'll replace it with a better roll. As long as it doesn't shatter first, I guess.
Which you've done many times.
Now there's a lot of like feeling that goes along with casting. Like you might feel like if you have a 70 cast already on there and you're trying to improve that to a higher one, you might feel like it's not working very well. And maybe, and I've had these experiences, like I'll go and dispel the 70 and then my very next cast is a 90. And that will give that experience will make me say, oh, well, maybe if I get a 70 cast to land, maybe it's better to just dispel it and cast on it blank. And a lot of priests, people will say it is better more because getting rid of that 70 means that there's a possibility you might land a really low cast on the next one, which is great. Like having a really low cast on an item means that your next cast has a bonus of whatever, depending on how low it is.
Mm.
So yeah. Oh, so Fabricant has the equation. So it's 100 minus the power. So let's say the power was 5. So you have an example. Imagine it was 40. 100 minus 40 is 60 divided by 20 is 3. Oh, okay. So if it's above 40, I guess that's between 40 and 50.
Okay, and
but what if
Serotonin
it's
Junkie, you're saying, okay, you finish your thoughts.
I'm just trying to think. If it was 5, let's say the 95 divided by 20 is 4. Like I guess it's 4 point something, so it rounds it down, I guess.
So Serotonin Junkie said, does the quality affect shatter rate?
The quality of the item does affect shatter rate. Yes.
And how specific can you be about how much? Or is that something that's a mystery to Wurm?
I'm sure that there's an equation out there somewhere, but it definitely has to do with your channeling. So it takes into account your channeling, the quality of the item, probably only those two things. That's my guess. I could be wrong, but definitely if you want to continually cast on something and you don't want it to shatter, like it's a rare item, you want to get it imped up to as high as you possibly could.
Right. So yeah, higher quality, the easier or the less chance you have to shatter it. Although I don't think that chance never reaches 0.
Correct.
I'm going to guess.
Correct.
And how you doing, Zandog, tonight?
Hey,
Hopefully you're doing well. And what's everybody up to tonight? Are you doing a project in Wurm? If you are playing Wurm, are you doing a nice project? Are you doing are you leveling a skill? What exactly are you guys working on tonight? And Rippins, you're saying, not to be rude, but I swear you guys should be selling your time. This information to Wurm and then telling us getting paid. But I feel like we get more from your epic streams being a Twitch player than Wurm, just saying. Thank you so much for the info. No problem, Rippins. We've been...
Yes.
You know what? We love talking about Wurm. And even if we were not streaming and we were playing this game, we'd be talking about Wurm. Like together, just the two of us. Oh man, Deathwind.
Thank you for the gifted subs.
Thank you so much. And that means that Dalraced, Rick, Dursix, Boozeway, and hey, Chef Huey. Oh man, you're lurking there in the background.
Yeah.
You are now all...
How's it going, man?
Subbed thanks to Deathwind. Oh man. Just... Yeah, this is essentially what we'd be talking about.
So the way that you get the bonus is that you have to be casting on the item that has that cast. Okay, so it's not like your next cast on a different item will give you the bonus. It's like the item has to already have, let's say it has 5 WOA on it, and you're casting on that item. That's where you get the bonus from. So if it shatters, it's gone. But it is possible to get a 0 cast. Now I'm not sure exactly how Wurm handles 0. Like, is it like it's possible that it's like a 0.5 or 0.4 rather, and like it rounds it down to 0? And in that situation, it would probably round it down to 4 as the bonus, as the maximum bonus. But I've heard conflicting things about that. I've never seen somebody cast a 105, unless they have benediction, of course, which gives you an extra 5 to all of your rolls.
And where do you get
And
benediction?
Benediction is from completing the priest journals, which apparently is impossible. So unless you do some workaround,
I love that.
which there are workarounds.
It's about completing the priest journal, except it's impossible.
It's impossible. Yeah, apparently it's impossible. Like you need to get 70 prayer, and people are having a lot of difficulty getting even through the 40s in prayer. I saw one guy say he's getting about 1 tick every 12 praise. A pray takes like 25 seconds to 30 seconds or something like this. So every 12 praise he'll get a tick, and it's a 0.0004 or something like that. Right? And he's in the 40s.
Yeah.
Like, and he has to get to 70 in order to finish that journal entry. The people who have gotten to 70, what they did was they went over to Epic, and apparently on Epic it's like so much easier to level up your prayer.
So the trick is just go to Epic. Is that still a thing?
Exactly. It's still a thing. Like people still do that to get their prayer up there, except for the people on the new servers don't have that option.
I guess we can't go to Epic. I wonder, was there any reason why we are cut off from Epic? Or just because?
No.
Since they essentially follow the same rule as the PvP server on the new servers, where you'd have to go through a portal, you lose all your skills, and you essentially have a separate type of character there.
That's not how it works on the new
ones. I'm not saying that the whole point is that you can't take any items, and essentially on Epic cannot take any skills.
Right. How do you join one of the gods? Okay, so if you're a brand new player, you haven't gotten a deity. At every starter town, there, and this is on the Steam, like the new servers. Every starter town has a person in a building somewhere that will convert you. You just talk to them. If you are far away from the starter town, any player who is a follower of a god can convert you as well.
That's true. And that's how it used to be on the old servers. There was no NPCs that could convert you.
Right.
On the old servers, and you had to rely on other players to even start following one of the gods, which we recommend completely. Is that, I guess, Rick, you've never actually joined one of the gods yet, so you completely should. Mostly because when you follow a god, there's a whole bunch of benefits that come with it.
Wait, how would what work?
Are you talking how does it work on the old server if there was no NPCs that converted you?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a tricky one. So at the very beginning, when the servers first opened, the very first people were manually converted by GMs. See, this was back in the day, back when this was a normal kind of, like, Wurm was in really rough, like, you know.
Yeah, we all relied on other players, essentially, after that.
Yeah. And then after that, you're relying on other players. You have to, like, reach out to people and say, is there any follower who can convert me? You have to go meet up with them. They'd have to convert you. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just what we did. And you think, okay, well, how would if every player stopped playing for one of the gods? I don't think that ever happened, really. There was never a shortage.
But in that situation, I'm sure the GM
would probably just convert somebody
Yeah.
that would
Yeah.
spread the love.